Hi, welcome to PB31 and the 21. My name is Denise Yutzi, and I am coming to you live tonight with a new series called It's the Little Things. And the first one in the series is called Drink Up. If you have never been to PB31 and the 21, what our mission is that we want to enlighten, educate, equip, empower, and employ women of the 21st century to be all God called them to be. And so many times it's just a little adjustment. It's just the little things that we need to do. It's not an overhaul. It's the little individual tweaks that we can do that can help us maximize our life and live a fully alive life in Christ. And so tonight I wanted to talk to you about something that is a little adjustment, and it's called drinking water. And I know that seems like it's not a big deal or it's not exciting, but there are so many negative side effects from being dehydrated, from not drinking enough water. And so tonight that's what we're going to talk about. It's just the power of making sure that you have proper hydration, that you're taking care of yourself. We're going to do another one in the future on just what 30 minutes of exercise can do for you, for your body. And so the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because I myself have been suffering from several of the side effects of not drinking enough water. And there are several, and so I'm just going to touch on them, and then we're going to go over a quiz, and just so that you can kind of do your own self-check of is this something that I'm experiencing? And then also give you some helpful hints as to maybe how you can challenge yourself, create new habits as you put this into practice. So basically the first thing that's important for you to remember is that we are mostly made up of water. And so when we dehydrate ourselves, when we're not getting enough water, it causes everything to kind of shut down. It causes your body to go into maintenance mode of wanting to keep everything like your organs need the water to function, right? So it will take it from your skin, it'll take it from your brain, it'll take it from all these places, which cause us to have all these negative side effects. So let's talk about what some of the things that water can do and drinking enough water can do. The first one is that it lubricates joints. Cartilage is found in most joints and discs and in the spine, and it contains about 80% of water. Long-term dehydration can reduce joints as in their shock absorbing ability, right? Because that's what creates that cushion, that hydration, that water, that leads to joint pain. So how many of you, I would just ask, wake up and you're so stiff, or, you're moving around and it's not the way it used to be. Well, one of the things that might be to take into consideration is it may not be age. It may not have anything to do with age relation or the old injury. It could be that you're not hydrating yourself the way that you need to, and so it's creating friction that isn't necessarily necessary. The second thing is it forms saliva and mucus. Saliva helps us to digest our food. It starts in our mouth. And so it keeps, and it also helps us, have the hydration for our tears. It prevents the friction and damage. Drinking water also keeps your mouth clean. Consumed instead of sweetened beverages, it can also reduce tooth decay. So that's the second thing is, if you ever feel like, man, my mouth is so dry, that is an indicator that you may not be drinking enough water, okay? Third thing is it delivers oxygen throughout the body. Think about this. Blood is more than 90% water, and blood is what carries the oxygen to different parts of your body. So if you're feeling like out of breath, if you're feeling like you're not lazy, but you're more sluggish, it could be that you need to get some water into your system. Fourth thing is it boosts healthy skin and beauty. With dehydration, the skin can become more vulnerable to skin disorders and premature wrinkling, right? So many of us are lathering ourselves with all these expensive products, and maybe not so expensive products, but you're trying to do all the right things for your skin. But if you're not drinking enough water, it will have a negative impact on the fact that your skin needs that to actually flourish. The next thing says it boosts I just said that one. Number 5 says it cushions the brain, the spinal cord, and sensitive tissues. Dehydration can affect the brain structure. This is one of the ones that I felt like was really kind of key because if you're not getting enough water, a lot of times you'll get headaches because your brain is not getting what it needs to allow the things to happen that are supposed to. It says it's also involved in the production of hormones and neurotransmitters. Prolonged dehydration can lead to problems with thinking and reasoning. Think about how many times you feel like foggy or cloudy-headed, or you're concerned that you are not, like you're feeling confused and you're not connecting the dots as fast as you could. Well, a lot of those things are related to water, and I know that seems like it's little, but that's why it says it's the little things. It's not such a little thing, and if you're experiencing these symptoms, it's definitely not little to you. The next thing that it affects is mood changes. Dehydration can also cause many changes in your mood. People with this condition might feel more depressed, tense, anxious than unusual. These problems are caused when your brain does not get sufficient fluids to operate normally. That's why it's more difficult for your daily tasks when you're dehydrated. And again, let's think about the misses in the fact that, you're tired, so you drink more coffee. And coffee is causes water to go out of your body. It's a dehydrant. And so it's kind of like an oxymoron, like you're feeding one thing to offset it, and it's actually drying you out even more. It's going, pick up a glass of water. Number 6 is it regulates your body temperature. Water that's stored in the middle layer of your skins come to the skin surface and sweat when the body heats up. As it evaporates, it cools the body. In sport, some scientists have suggested that when there's too little water in the body, heat storage increases and the individual are less able to tolerate heat strain. And I can say from personal experience, when I was in the military, I ended up getting heat stroke because I had gotten dehydrated. I didn't realize that. I actually felt cold, and they had to go through everything that they do when they do that. But part of it was that I had not had enough water. And so it allows for your body to cool itself down. So again, it regulates body temperature. Having a lot of water in your body may reduce physical strain of heat stress that occurs during exercise. However, more research is needed on that. But I would say this, if you're cramping, if you're running and you're heating up faster than normal, just kind of do a self-check of how much water that you've been taking in. Number 7, the digestive system depends on this. The bowels need water to work properly. Dehydration can lead to digestive problems. Constipation is one of those things, and an overly acidic stomach. This increases the risk of heartburn and stomach ulcers. Okay, again, we're checking off the boxes as we're going through this process to say, okay, do I have frequent heartburn? Do I struggle with going to the bathroom on a regular routine, which ultimately can lead to bigger issues like diverticulitis and things like that? Am I feeling like my mouth is dry all the time? So let's think through this process. Number 8 is it flushes body's waste. Water is needed to contain processes of sweating and removal of urine and feces. So if you don't have enough water, it's going to cause those kind of problems. And again, if all those toxins are in there and there's nothing to flush them out, that's what's going to be flowing through. That's when it's going to create the brain fog. That's what's going to cause you to feel lethargic and out of energy or overexerted when you're not doing anything that's making you feel that way. Number 9 is it helps maintain blood pressure. A lack of water can cause blood pressure to become thick and negatively impacting your blood pressure. And so that's interesting because you figure, again, if it's made out of blood and it's thicker, it's pumping slower, which can lower your blood pressure. The airways need it. Number 10, when dehydrated, airways are restricted by the body in an effort to minimize water loss. So you're actually exerting, and COVID is a perfect example of this, like when you're breathing all that out, it's coming out in those air droplets, whether you see it or not. So what this triggers is it can actually make asthma and allergies worse because you're dry and it's not allowing that mucus to do what it's supposed to do, and so it makes it feel restricted. Number 11 is it makes minerals and nutrients accessible. These dissolve water in water, right? So as you're taking that in, if there's only acid in your stomach or other chemicals, whether it's soda or mixed drinks or coffee, then those things are what's sitting in your stomach to digest all of that. And so your body's having to process all that on top of the minerals and the things that you're taking into your body. Number 12 says it prevents kidney damage. The kidneys regulate fluids in your body, and insufficient water can lead to kidney stones and other problems. Hint, hint. How about urinary tract infections? For those of you that have experienced those consistently, think about when you have a urinary tract infection, they tell you to drink a ton of water and flush it out and minimize caffeine. And so think about all these negative dominoes that get triggered when we're just not doing something as easy as drinking water. Number 13 is it boosts performance during exercise. Dehydration during exercise may hinder performance. Some scientists have proposed that consuming more water might enhance performance during strenuous activity. More research is needed to confirm this, but the review found that dehydration reduces performance in activities lasting longer than 30 minutes. And think about it, if you don't have the blood pumping the way it's supposed to, if you're not hydrated, it makes it harder. Like you can do something like walk up the stairs, you can go for a short brisk walk, and it just feels like, again, you're exerting way more energy than you actually have. Number 15, I'm sure that some of you are going to like this. It reduces the chance of a hangover. When you're doing, it says when partying, unsweetened soda water with ice and lemon alternated with those beverages can help prevent overconsumption of alcohol. Think about it. If you fill your stomach with water, you're not going to want all that stuff that you would put in there on top of it. All right, so let's talk about some signs that you may be dehydrated or that you're not drinking enough water, right? We're not thinking outright dehydration, which you could, that causes the high fever and all that overly negative effects that we talked about. But these are some of like the cues, signs that you're not drinking enough water. One, your skin is dry and cracked, or your wrinkles look like they're increasing super fast, or they're getting deeper. So they're either increasing or they're deepening. And part of that is because there's no water under the layer of your skin to make it look healthy, to make it look vibrant. If it looks old, if it looks dark, if it looks wrinkly or cracked, then it may just be that you need to drink some more water. Number 2, a sign that you may not be drinking enough water, foggy brain. 80% of your brain is water, therefore dehydration might have some negative effects on your brain. Without sufficient fluids, some regions won't work as well, especially when it comes to memory, concentration, and alertness. And again, let's think about this process when you're sitting at your desk and you're having to fight yourself to focus. You're having to fight to connect the dots. What was I doing? I can't remember. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be about age. It doesn't necessarily have to be about you're getting older. It could be that this is something that's just little, that you can make a little adjustment and fix it. Again, we talked about mood changes. And number 4, something that's a cue, and we talked about having the dry mouth, but bad breath is actually a sign of not drinking enough water. Number 5 is dark urine. Why? Because your body's going to keep as much as it can on the inside, so that's an indicator. If you're not taking certain kind of vitamins that make it that color, then it might be an indicator for you that you're not drinking enough water. Number 6 is low blood pressure. Number 7, we talked about pain. When you don't have enough water in your body, your pain sensory nerves are hypersensitive because there's less to cushion. There's not as much, the symptoms can seem more overwhelming. A headache can seem stronger. If you hurt yourself, it can seem like a bigger deal versus when you have water and it doesn't trigger as much of those pain points. We already talked about constipation, which leads to bloating and toxicity. If you just feel like, every day, all the time, again, drinking water is going to help offset that and flood your digestive system and help you to cleanse yourself of those impurities and all those toxins. So let's take a quiz really quick. If you were going to kind of give yourself a checklist, a yes or no, then I would say if you get 4 out of these as a yes, then you probably are not drinking enough water. So as a self-examination, how is your skin looking? Is it looking healthy and vibrant? Is it looking bright? Or does it look like you're sunk in, like your wrinkles are getting deep, like it doesn't matter how much you wash or lather your face with lotion, it's not helping? So that's the first thing, yes or no? You can go ahead and answer that question. Number 2, foggy brain. Do you have difficulty focusing or concentrating consistently? Number 3, mood changes. Do you notice that you're having frequent mood swings where you're going up and down, you're irritable, and you have ongoing depression? Is that something that's a yes or that's a no? How's your breath? That's one of them for real. Dark urine. Only you would know that, I would hope. Low blood pressure. Regular blood pressure, normal blood pressure is 120/80. That's normal. So if you check your blood pressure, or you go to the doctor's, or you go to one of those little cuff things that you can go in the grocery store or the pharmacy, where's your blood pressure? How's that looking? Pain. Do you deal with chronic ongoing pain, achy joints, extended recovery time when you work out, etc., etc.? Then the next one is regular constipation. If you have to take a laxative more than once a week, then you're probably not drinking enough water, because that is not normal. Number 9 is feeling exhausted even when you've rested. That's something that we didn't talk about. When you are dehydrated, when you're not getting enough water, you can sleep 8 hours, you can sleep 9 hours and 10 hours, and you wake up and you still feel tired. That's one of those little self-checks, like, am I experiencing that? And again, remember, PV31 is wanting to be all God called us to be. And if this is just something little that we can tweak when we talked about COVID and what is in our control and what's in our inner circle and what can we take responsibility over and make decisions for that are going to help us to not just survive, but to thrive. This is such a little thing, right? All right, so how do we get from here to there? If you recognize when we went through that little quiz, yep, you know what, most of those are me, then these are just some little adjustments, some little tweaks we can make. Remember at the beginning I said it's not always about overhaul. It's just about a tweak. It's just about those little adjustments that we can make that make us feel like we're more in control. Because I can tell you, if you're feeling toxic, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling irritable, if you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, what is wrong with my skin? Like, you're not happy with yourself. That's not thriving. That's not even surviving. You're frustrated in your life. And so this is just one of those little adjustments. So getting from here to there, creating good habits. First thing is, I said, determine how much water you should be drinking. There are several theories about how much water you should drink, but a really easy calculation is weigh yourself, and you should be drinking between 50 and 75% of your body weight a day. Okay, so an example would be if you weigh 140 pounds, then you should be drinking 75 to 105 ounces of water daily. That might seem overwhelming for some people, but it's really not. It feels like it when you start, because it feels like that's all you're doing is drinking water, because you're creating those new habits, right? You're shifting your paradigm to these are the outcomes I want. This is the adjustment I have to make. So let's put it in perspective. 100 ounces of water is only 5 20-ounce bottles. That's it. If you drink a bottle of water when you get up, you brush your teeth, you start to drink your water, and before you even have your first cup of coffee, you drink 20 ounces, 1 down, 4 to go. That's as easy as that is. To gain all these other benefits that we're talking about, right? What I do is I will label them, like 1 through 5 or 1 through 6. So I'm keeping track of how much I'm drinking in a day. So the night before, I fill up all my water bottles, because I'm all about recycling, and I will write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I just refill those so that I can keep track. Because when 1's empty, I know I have 4 more to go. When 2's empty, and it's kind of crazy, because as you do this in the beginning, you're just like, oh my gosh. And even if you feel thirsty when you've been dehydrated, there's nothing like when you drink water and you are like, you start to crave it. Like, I want water instead of other things. Your body starts to crave it because it's kind of aligned to do what it's supposed to be doing. Number 2, getting from here to there, creating good habits. Take a 30-day challenge. I want to challenge you. Take that test, answer the questions, write your comments for me. Yep, Denise, total fail. I need to create these new habits. No, I'm good. I'm doing the right thing. And this is how I feel. Put even comments of how you do feel if you're doing the right things. So take the 30-day challenge. Once you've taken the quiz and determined how much you're supposed to drink and where your problems area are, make some notes and then begin. Keep track of your progress. If you've been fighting dry skin, wrinkles, and you start to see a difference in your complexion, write it down. How are you feeling? If you were brain foggy and unfocused, are you starting to feel like the clouds are clearing? If you struggle with headaches all the time, and you start to drink water, and all of a sudden you have an aha moment to go, oh my gosh, like it's working. Like I don't have a headache every single day. I don't have to mask it with medicine and ibuprofen and Tylenol and any of that other stuff that creates all these additional negative side effects that your body's going to have to do. And so those are some things that's really cool for you to just think about is, you know, go ahead and figure out how much you're supposed to be drinking. Do the weigh yourself 50-75. Then take the 30-day challenge. I just would challenge you, Denise, I'm going to take it with you. And let's walk through some of the testimonials of how this works. Number 3 is try this. In order to stay on track, you can either label the bottles the way I told you to, or go buy a fun drink thing. Go buy a bottle that you love that will motivate you. Something that's all glittery, if that's what you like. Something that has a word of encouragement on it, a statement of faith. Whatever it is that will make you do it, then use it. But when you have that individual bottle, you have to know how many ounces it is, and you have to keep track of how many you're drinking in a day, which, by the way, you can make a game of. There is this awesome app called Plant Nanny. And Plant Nanny, you download the app, you put in how much you weigh, it tells you how much you're supposed to be drinking in a day. And then what you do is you go in and you water your plant every time you take your drink. When you drink like so many ounces, because you pick your cup. So if you're like drinking 16 or drinking 20, whatever. But ideally what you do is you keep track inside your Plant Nanny of how much you're drinking, and it's super fun. You get to pick your pot in the beginning. You get to pick the kind of plant that you want to grow. And then what you do through the course of several days is you water your plant as you drink your water. This is what's so fun about that, is you can end up with a whole garden worth of flowers, but there is a negative consequence. If you don't water your plant and you come back to your app and you forgot, it wilts and dies, which is not positive reinforcement for negative behavior. You don't want your plant to die. So Plant Nanny is a great way to help you stay on track, to help you accomplish those goals, and to fill your garden. So I'd love to hear if you do pick Plant Nanny. I'd love to hear what the first flower you pick. There's dandelions, there's all kinds of stuff, and as you go up, obviously you get points and you can get better pots and more fun plants, but it's super fun to fill your garden. So make a game of it. All right, final thoughts. Let's look at this. As we close, I think it's important to acknowledge that as you begin, you're going to feel like you are in the restroom more than you're not. I'm just going to be honest with you. You're going to feel like you have to go to the bathroom all the time. And you're going to be like, is this even worth it? However, once your body gets used to this new process, it will level out and you will go from floating to flourishing, just like your plants. It's going to be awesome. Also, it's important to understand drinks like caffeine and alcohol are dehydrants. This is a really important fact. It's a dehydrant. So what that means is if you're going to drink coffee, or you're going to drink a caffeinated drink, or you're going to drink alcohol, you're going to need to add like a 1-to-1 ratio on top of the water you're already drinking. So if you're drinking 100 ounces of water a day and then you drink a 20-ounce Coke, you're going to want to drink 120 ounces of water to flush out all that stuff, because you're basically negating some of the progress in the 100 ounces every time you drink a caffeinated drink or alcohol. All right? Because, like I said, you don't want that to offset your process. So the mission of PB31 is to want to help the women of the 21st century to be all God called them to be. I pray that these truths and these simple adjustments, guys, you can take control of your life. You can take it back. You can not hurt all the time. You can not be foggy brain. You can not be confused. You cannot feel toxic. You can get better. And these little tweaks of adjustments can help you transition from just surviving to thriving. So what I would say is drink up. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take a minute to share this on your own Facebook page. I will be uploading this to YouTube along with several of the other videos that are already there. But again, stay tuned. I will be doing a regular series for just a little bit called It's the Little Things. Remember, we're just taking our life back. We're doing what we can, keeping the responsibility in our circle, not out there. I pray God blesses you, that this helped you, and I can't wait to see your likes, your comments, and your shares, and your progress. Go get that Plant Nanny. Bye!